Hi guys, in the last video we had a look at the problems that were being faced as soon as India got independence and the challenges that the body or the Constituent Assembly, which decided on debating and making the constitution, the solutions they had to come up with. In this video we're now going to discuss the path to the Indian constitution. Well, of course, one of the major advantages for the makers of the Indian Constitution was that there was a consensus about what a democratic India should look like because they had already seen this during the freedom struggle. During the freedom struggle, they were not just aware about the problems that the British were creating, but they also became aware about the problems that were inherently a part of the Indian society and politics. So they knew what sort of challenges they were going to be dealing with, and this whole body, the Constituent Assembly, all of them agreed that yes, these are the problems, and we're collectively going to try and find a solution to them. In 1928, Motilal Nehru and 8 other Congress leaders drafted a constitution for India. In 1931, the resolution at the Karachi session of the Indian National Congress dwelt on how independent India's constitution should look like. So, the Indian National Congress, which was heading the freedom struggle for India, they used to have a lot of meetings, and it is one of these Karachi sessions that they pass a resolution about the ideas or the challenges that they are going to be dealing with. Some things that they agreed to was inclusion of universal adult franchisee, which is the right to vote, equal right to vote, where everyone has one vote and each vote has single value, and everyone has the right to vote after a certain age, irrespective of caste, creed, color, gender, social status, religion. And the second was the right to freedom and equality. And the third is protection of minorities. So these 3 points are very important, and they will go on to form the basis of the Indian Constitution. Just a second. Also, now, usually what happens when a country suddenly becomes independent is that they may go into a chaos because they may not be sure as to how they should do things, how they should hold elections, how are they going to convince people that the people should have faith in them, and how are they going to show people that they're accountable towards them, and so on and so forth. But in India, while the British were ruling India, by the end of their rule, elections had started happening in India. They were not fully democratic elections, but they were elections nonetheless, where people, although there were bases of religion and there were bases of wealth, people had started voting. So, people in India had an idea about how elections should work, how they should go about it, although not fully democratic, which they will make now by including universal adult franchisee. When India got independence, India was not lost. India was not suddenly, hit in the face by, oops, we're independent. But now what should we do? No, we know what we need to do, and now that we've got independence, we can go doing it in the way we wanted to, or the way we should have. In fact, because Indians were used to holding elections or being part of elections, they took a couple of procedures from the British laws also. Something that taught them about provincial legislatures and elections was the elections held in 1937, and they also took certain procedures from the Government of India Act 1935. We do not need to look into the details because again it's not a part of your syllabus, so just remember these rules that they took from the colonial era. However, much later if you study history, I would be covering the same with you in detail. Alright, now apart from taking a couple of things from the from the colonial times, apart from taking a couple of rules which were used to govern India during the colonial era by the British, the makers of the Indian Constitution were inspired by other countries of the world also. So what we see in the Indian Constitution is a beautifully made patchwork where you pick up whatever you like from different countries and then you try and make it suit your Indian conditions. So again, later if you study history in detail, you'll see how very beautifully Jawaharlal Nehru has said that although we are taking things from other countries, we are not directly copying them into our constitution. You know, it's not a copy paste that, oh, I like something from the French Revolution, copy paste it into the Indian Constitution. Something from the French Constitution, copy paste it into the Indian Constitution. No, what they did was they liked something from another country, they picked up that idea, they saw if they had to change the idea to suit the Indian needs, and then they incorporated it into the Indian Constitution. So it was a very thought out, lengthy process full of debates and discussions. The countries which inspired the Indian Constitution were ideals of the French Revolution: liberty, equality, fraternity. Liberty is freedom, equality is all of us are equal, and fraternity means brotherhood. The idea of parliamentary democracy came from Britain, and the idea of Bill of Rights came from the United States. India is not, the Indian economy is not absolutely public, it's neither absolutely private. We are more of a joint economy, or I would say a mixed economy. I mean, joint is when both public and private sectors come together and work. So we're more of a mixed economy. And we've also been very socialist in a lot of our ideas. These ideas of socialism were inspired by Russia. In your history, we will have a look at the Russian Revolution and then you'll get familiar with what this idea is. Yeah, just a moment. Well, so in detail, if you want to have a look at the Constituent Assembly, the drafting of the Constitution was done by an assembly of elected representatives called the Constituent Assembly. Elections to the Constituent Assembly were held in July 1946 and its first meeting was held in December 1946. Soon after, the country was divided into India and Pakistan in 1947, and the Constituent Assembly also got divided into the Constituent Assembly of India and that of Pakistan. The Constituent Assembly that wrote the Indian Constitution had 299 members. They were headed by Dr. Rajendra Prasad. In fact, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the president of the Constituent Assembly of India. Out of that, a smaller body came, like I've told you, known as the drafting committee, which drafted the Constitution. That body was headed by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and that is why we say that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is the founding father of our Indian Constitution. The Constituent Assembly adopted the Constitution on 26 November 1949, but it came into effect on 26 January 1950, and that is why to mark this day we celebrate January 26 as Republic Day every year. Just a second. I'll just give you I'll get a little bit of history in here. Why 26 January? Why have we given it such an important why have we given it such importance? Why 26 Jan? Why not just celebrate 26th November when the Constitution actually got finished as Republic Day? Why 26 January? Well, the reason is when you look at Indian history in detail and go back to the year 1929, there in the Lahore session of the Indian National Congress, it was decided that we need to start celebrating Independence Day as a symbolic day. Remember, in 1929, India did not get independence, But Indians started celebrating it because they wanted to show the British that they're not going to be defied by them and listen to them anymore. At the same time, they also wanted to inspire the Indian people. And so they started celebrating this Independence Day on 26 January from 1930 onwards. Fast forward. When did India actually get independence? 1947, 15th August. It's fine. But for so many years, you've been celebrating independence as a symbolic day on 26 January. But you actually get independence on 15th August, which is fine. But then you need to give importance and think about 26 January, which you've held as important for so many years. And that is the reason they decided to adopt the constitution that day. For all of you who were present for the Republic Day parade, Principal Sir asked this brilliant question about what would you see as more important, Independence Day or Republic Day. Some senior students did discuss it with me, and it's a very important and interesting question, because do you think it's just important to get independence, or do you think it's also important to have a constitution which guarantees your rights along with it? And so you guys can think about this at home and definitely send me your views about what is more important according to you, Independence Day or Republic Day. Alright, we'll continue with the rest of the chapter in the next video. Thank you.